Guys, it's Zangetsu 134 here, and bring you another Kamen Rider Zio review. This time we'll be looking at Kamen Rider's the Kamen Rider Gaim arc, episodes 11 and 12. It's been for, I remember when I got this. I think it was about partway through Gaim's story arc, because the Sengoku driver was like my first Kamen Rider belt that I ever bought. So I was really interested in this arc happening because Gaim has a special place in my heart. It's my second favorite post-decade season aside from Kamen Rider Double. I mean, it was made by Gen Urobuchi, who's done a lot of great work, and this is very important to me. So you're probably wondering why it took me like 3 weeks to do this vlog instead of my usual 2. When I was watching these episodes, I had both ready, but the other one that I found on the place that I was watching these, that of Kiss Asian, which I know a lot of people probably look bad on that, but they get the episodes out so fast. It's why I use it for watching the episodes while I'm doing vlogs, so I do apologize. But I do try to watch them other places, much more preferable places. But their episode 12 didn't have the subtitles in it, so I had to wait until I could find time to catch it elsewhere. So I'm not going to tell you where because I don't want that one place getting taken down. It happens to be one of the better places that I can watch it, so I'm not going to say, unfortunately. I'm sorry about that. If you really want to watch the show, there are plenty of ways to do so. Particularly, you can get TV Nihons or overtime subs. But yeah, so I am gonna try and be a little bit better. But like I've told you guys, and I'm sure you're tired of me hearing it. The holidays coming up. I work in retail. It's just gonna be hard for me to find time to watch it. I also have some responsibilities coming up with my family that I have to deal with. I'm not gonna say anything. It's a personal matter. But understand that it's gonna make it harder for me to do vlogs for the next couple of months. I'm gonna try. It's just some stuff has come up in my life right now that I can't really. I don't really wish to bring up. But just know I'm still gonna try and do my vlogs. Like I said, it's just gonna be harder for me to do. So anyway, let's actually get into the episode. So I like I said, I like Kamen Rider Gaim, and I was expecting this to be really, to hopefully be at least enjoyable for me as someone who's a fan of Gaim. And it was interesting, although I will admit, there's some really weird time stuff that happens in this. So the episode basically opens up with Zio getting the abilities of Gaim. He gets the Gaim Ride Watch and turns into Kamen Rider Zio Gaim Armor, which I will admit, I'm not a big fan of the Gaim Armor in this. It's way too busy. Like, it's one thing for him to have Gaim's face as the chest plate and lock seeds, but he also has, like, these big, Dai Maru, like, blade wings that come off it. He has, he has the leg plating of Gaim on his legs, and they also have Dai Maru's, the orange swords that, this Dai Maru, the orange lock. I'm gonna turn this off again because I accidentally hit the silver button on this in the back, the one that like you can do the battle game that they played in like the first episode. And even then, it's not nearly as good as the Kurokage and Knuckle lock seeds that I have that actually play the Helheim crack zip noise opening. Anyway, I don't mind the armor. It's just I think it's a little too busy for him. Like especially because we got scans of his Kuga armor, and some of his other armors. They're not nearly as busy. I just think it's a little too busy, and this is somewhat coming from someone who really likes his Forze armor, which is also kind of busy. but at least there it's because it's hiding the fact that he transforms into a rocket for his finisher. Um, but otherwise, it's just kind of weird. Um, so yeah, uh, he manages to use that to defeat another guy who looks really cool. He looks almost like like an SIC figure. And I know I've said that for a lot of them, but he really, really looks like SH Figure Arts, or not SH Figure Arts, SIC, Bandai SIC's Kamen Rider Gaim figures, where like they almost look like actual samurai armor. Um, but anyway, sorry, my neck's kind of sore. I'm getting close to 30, and like just if I sleep wrong on my neck, it's just stiff. Where was I? So yeah, he uses it to defeat another Gaim, but then all of a sudden everything seems to freeze. And at first you think it's a time jacker, but then it's revealed to be Kota Kazuraba, aka Kamen Rider Gaim, using his godlike powers he gained from defeating the Helheim Forest, which is weird because I want to say when another Gaim shows up, it's like I want to say it's into like episode 7. It's him fighting some random Inves from the footage, but like it's clearly not like it's clearly way before he's defeated. Spoilers for Kamen Rider Gaim. It's clearly before he defeated Kaido, so it doesn't really make sense that he's God, like unless of course like his powers made him semi-immortal from the power of the Time Jackers' time erasing history thanks to the power of the Another Riders. He takes, I guess, Sogo to what's supposed to be like the remnants of the planet he created at the end of Gaim, but it's clearly like falling apart and being erased from time, but like Koda's powers just kind of keeping it from doing so very fast, or like almost instantaneously. Which gets confusing because later on we meet a human Kota Kazuraba who works for Droopers, the restaurant that like they go to and like hang out in. Which, fun fact, I think Gaim was one of the few post-decade riders to have like an actual cafe that they work out of. Because that used to be like a thing with Kamen Rider. Like in the Showa era, a lot of them worked out of cafes, and a lot of the Heisei, like the pre-decade Heisei riders, either worked in a cafe or occasionally would like have a cafe that they would go to. In some cases that was reversed. Like I know like the bad guys and Fies had their own cafe, which is more like a bar, but it was I mean, I don't think they ever drank alcohol. They mostly drank cafe, like coffee and stuff. I know, I'm weird. Actually no, you know what? Gaim was one of the few. I think the only other one would be Build. But then again, Build was trying to do like I guess kind of like an homage to like older Heisei, like the older Heisei shows and like and like the Showa era where like again they would have like cafes and stuff. So yeah, and basically he tells Kota that he's trying to do everything by himself when he should rely on others. Like he should get help from others as a king shouldn't try to solve everything by themselves. And you're not really sure why that is until Kota reveals that he's doing it to save Gates, where we then see the episode rewind back to 3 days earlier. Yeah, it does that whole in media res thing where it's like, well, this is what happening now. Let's go back. You know, that thing that comic books do, because they're like, we don't trust the story enough, so we're gonna pull you into like we're gonna start you at like the exciting part and then go back. Although it does make sense here. I'm gonna probably spoil the whole thing because it's a mystery for like the first episode and then the second episode not so much. Basically, Sogo just takes that Kota's advice, God Kota's advice, and travels back to 3 days earlier before he has the Gaim Ride Watch, where present Kota or Sogo is trying to figure out a way to get Gates to come back, while Gates himself has decided that he's going to work with the Time Jackers in order to stop Zio from coming to power. While doing so, Waz has decided to find a member of Team Baron to become another Gaim. His name, I think, is Asura, which is kind of fitting. A war god. The war god that uses his rage to defeat his opponents. Basically, he uses the power of another Gaim to send any member of Team Baron that doesn't like the way he does things into the Helheim Forest, which of course means he put Kaito, Kamen Rider Baron, into the Helheim. And him and the others have somehow managed to survive in the Helheim Forest for like 5 years without having a Sengoku driver. Yeah, I know I shouldn't do that, but like the only thing that's changed is the fact that like there wasn't a Yggdrasil corporation, and the fact that like because they didn't meddle with everything, like it's only been like 8 years since they found the Helheim Forest in that regard, so like the world's population hasn't been taken over by the Helheim Forest or something. I don't know, but like it's still weird. Like my point is like with the Sengoku driver was supposed to keep them from falling into eating the fruit and turning into Inves because it purified the fruit so that the virus in it that turns you into an Inves doesn't turn you into an Inves. I know, I get, but like that part bothered me because like you're not able to survive in the Helheim Forest. Like what did Kaito eat for 5 years? Did he just eat Helheim fruit? Again, he should be turned into an Inves if that was the case. Like that's the only thing that really bothers me about this arc because like eventually Gates gets in there too because he doesn't like the fact that another guy is like hurting people and killing people, and so he realizes that he doesn't want to work with the Time Jackers either. So Waz and another Gaim throw him into the Helheim where he meets Kaito, and Kaito basically gives him the whole, you're hesitating a lot. You think you can change fate, but you don't have the stomach for it. And basically he needs to learn to get his resolve. While that's going on, Kota attacks another Gaim, and he really can't do much because he doesn't have the Ride Watch. But it seems to be but basically another Sogo, Future Sogo, we'll call him Future Sogo. Future Sogo, helps him out. Eventually, the two of them were working in tandem to defeat another Gaim, but of course he gets away because he doesn't. Neither of them have the Gaim ride. Well, Sogo doesn't want to use the Gaim ride watch because he's not sure what way he can do this so that Kamikota can so he can solve Kamikota's riddle. And then of course the episode ends with the revelation that the two are there's two Sogos, which annoys Tsukuyomi and Waz. Which, speaking of Tsukuyomi, she can't figure out why there's suddenly two Sogos, one that has a white shirt, one that has a blue shirt, and how one seems to know what's going on and the other doesn't. Tsukuyomi, you're a time traveler. Both Sogo and Gates have access to a time machine. So you're telling me you didn't see technically Sogo and Gates could cause time paradoxes by running into their other selves via time travel. Granted, they never explain how this should technically be dangerous because there's two Sogos running around and two Zeos, and how that could cause a time paradox. Well, they do in the compendiums, but the compendiums I don't really count because they're just silly little things that are just supposed to be little add-ons to the show, and a lot of times they don't really do that much. Episodes 12 compendium basically just being an explanation on how Waz, Gates, and the Time Jackers differ from each other. Eventually Sogo tells, future Sogo tells past Sogo or present Sogo to find the human Kota Kazuraba. He will have the Gaim Ride Watch, and of course the Suika the Suika Kodama ride watch, which I will admit that was actually really hilarious. The Suika ride watch gadget, because like in the show, the Suika Lockseed has basically a giant watermelon armor that turns into a mech suit. That the Gaim riders could get into, which is why its fighting, or its transformation code was called, or transformation call is Suika Arms Odama Big Bang, which is Odama meaning the Japanese word for wrecking ball. You know, it's a massive wrecking ball that you use to destroy your opponents. Its call, the Suika ride gadget's call, is Suika Arms Kodama, which means sprite, because it's only like as tall as like one of my transformers over there, like those guys or the ones up there. They're really tiny. It's really tiny. And so basically, they get into a fight with another Gaim after they meet Koda, which, of course, he has a box full of fruit because he works for Droopers, which is hilarious because he has like a pine cone in there, which is a reference to Kamen Rider Kurokage. He has like, he has oranges, grapes, and a pine cone, which, you know, are references to other Gaim riders, you know, the grapes being Kamen Rider Ryugen, even though they're purple. Okay, yeah, no, his grape Loxy was purple, but his Under Armour was green. He needed some green and grapes in there. And, of course, the pine cone. I wonder if he had a donguri, an acorn in there, or a durian. Yeah, you know, I had problems with this arc, but, like, it's mostly just the fact that the time travel stuff's kind of stupid in it. And it's kind of obvious. But anyway, so Present Sogo, rather, gets the Gaim Ride watch, but Woz and Schwartz interfere because Woz decides that because of Sogo's meddling with time and the fact that he's doing things that aren't in the time stream as presented by the Advent calendar book that he has, the Cataclysm Advent calendar book. He decides to work with Schwartz to keep the timeline moving, which of course infuriates Tsukuyomi, but so it's like, no, I get it. You did what you felt was right. Like, it's really weird because like he really doesn't mind Woz, but like clearly he like doesn't want to always follow Woz's like predictions and stuff. But basically, Schwartz interferes and takes the Gaim Ride Watch, which activates the Suika Kodama ride gadget. And he tries to throw it into a crack so that another Gaim can't be defeated. And the Kodama sprite follows it, which was all, of course, future Sogo's plan, because they want to try and establish that he, much like Decade, is like this cunning strategist with all these Xanatos gambits. And so basically the Suika Kodama ride watch takes the Gaim ride watch, or ride gadget takes the Gaim ride watch to gates in the Helheim Forest, and using the ones that the ride watch and Kodama sprite that future Koda has, or future Sogo. Ugh. There's too much time travel stuff happening in these episodes. And future Sogo, who has a Kodama sprite, uses a communication device that it has. Basically, it has like this little blade thing that like is a reference to the gyro mode of the Suika Arms Lockseed, but he can also turn into a TV screen that they can talk to each other through. Which is weird because like the Phys Phone X ride gadget doesn't work via time, because like Gates tries to contact Tsukuyomi with his while in Helheim, but it doesn't work because he's in an alternate dimension. Because I guess the phones don't have Wi-Fi, or have like the ability to reach signal towers through dimensions, except the Kodama sprite can. But then again, it's based on Gaim, so maybe because it's a Gaim ride gadget, it can pierce the veil of the Helheim Forest barrier between that and our world, I guess. It's not really made clear. But basically, Sogo gives him that because he believes that Gates has the power to defeat him, and that he believes in Gates, and that Gates will bring it back. So Gates does. So basically, due to that, Kaido realizes he's finally got the courage and the power to break what is essentially like a semi-stable crack the zippers that appear whenever like something goes between our world and Helheim. And he figures if he uses the ride the ride machine, the bike that him and Sogo use. I forget what the name of the bike is. Which is kind of in reference to the fact that in Gaim, the bikes in that, like the Sakura, I can't remember the Sakura. I think it's the Sakura Cyclone and the Rose Attacker. They if you sped them up enough, they would eventually create their own cracks that they can use to travel between dimensions. Using the Gaim Ride Watch in conjunction with the bike allows Gates to break through, and of course he uses that to deliver the Gaim Ride Watch, so that both the present Sogo and the future Sogo defeat another Gaim together in tandem. Basically showing that, like, he didn't rely on, he won't rely on just himself. He'll get help from his friends if he needs to, which is what Kami Kota was trying to say all along, and which he congratulates Sogo on doing, that like a king's duty is to help his people, and sometimes that means he also needs his people's strength in order to win. And he says that and congratulates Sogo as he finally fades away. Basically, his power runs out, and he's finally erased from history. Which is sad, but I know he'll come back. Like, they'll all come back. I'm pretty sure I know the ending to this show, but especially because they show, I think, the ending in the opening credits. And so basically, Sogo and Tsukuyomi return home. The Sogo from the future stays in his timeline, not to interfere anymore. And so it ends basically with the two of them telling his uncle that, we think we did patch up things with Gates, but I don't think he's going to be coming back. When all of a sudden Gates appears with chicken, which is a reference from the episode, the arc before it. And so, more or less, Gates decides, I'm going to come back, but I'm not doing it because I want to be your friend. I'm coming back because I want to make sure that I'm going to be around so that when you do become an overlord, I will stop you. Which Sogo's like, that's fine. I'm just glad you're back. Welcome back. And so the episode ends with Waz talking about how, like, yeah, like, I don't really know if I trust my overlord's stuff completely, but to be fair, I guess it makes kind of sense that he'll use Gates even if he's not important to the advent calendar, which then of course ends with him seeing Gates' name appear in the advent calendar, implying that yes, Sogo did in fact change history, that Gates was supposed to disappear, in this story, but of course thanks to his meddling he didn't, which shows that Sogo is in fact changing the timeline, even if it's only slightly, and that he will eventually he is basically on the path to becoming a good king, or at least kind of implying that he's on the path to becoming a good king. It's up in the air still, but we'll see. And of course we get, the next arc, which I'm kind of excited for because it's supposed to be like the Ghost arc, but it's also, we're getting Kamen Rider Decade coming back. So get ready, because I'm probably going to make a lot of references to Garo in that too. So, in summary, I liked some of the parts of this episode. I liked the Gaim stuff when it showed up. My biggest problems with this is the whole in media res opening and the time paradox stuff. Because of all that, it made it so that Kota and Kaido really don't get to do a lot in the story. They're not as important as like the stuff that's going on with Sogo and his friends. Instead of what's important, or instead of basically being, a celebration of Gaim, it just kind of felt like it was a it was just kind of more about like the Zio stuff than it was about the the celebration of Kamen Rider Gaim. And then of course also like the fact that like Tsukuyomi wasn't very fast on the uptake of exactly what was going on and all the time travel shenanigans. But otherwise, I don't think it was that bad. I do admit I like the idea of Koda trying to show Sogo how to be a good king when he himself was trying to figure out. The whole point of Gaim was to figure out how he could save the world in a way that would save everyone without having to kill other people. And that was he became God. So he would kind of figure out probably a good way to be king as well. So like I said, I don't think it's as bad. Again, I don't think it's as frustrating as the Forza 5's arc, but it definitely wasn't as good as like the previous arc. It had some problems for me, mostly in the storytelling department. But otherwise, I don't think it was bad. I just think it had some issues with it that makes it not nearly as good as I was hoping it was. But with that said, I do hope that you enjoyed this review. Like I said, I think it's okay. I don't think it's bad. I don't think it's average. I just think it's fine. It has some problems, but it's not unwatchable. Well, that said, guys, that's gonna be it for my vlog this week. Again, I'm gonna try and stay on time, but like I said, with retail and just some family obligations and stuff that I have to do, it's gonna be harder for me to get my vlog out on time. But otherwise, guys, I hope I can. Hopefully, once this new year is over, I might have some other ideas for some stuff to do. I might go back to doing some retro reviews where I watch like a TV show like in between waiting for Gaim to get through. Because I have some ideas. Particularly, I might want to do. I used to do a blog with some friends of mine that I met on Facebook where we would review tokusatsu stuff, but we kind of had a falling out with each other. I'm friends with one of the guys, but I think two of the guys. Me and a couple other guys. Basically, we had disagreements with the guy who was running the site, and so we don't really work together. But I did do a blog where I did a review of a much older TV show, and I happen to have found subs for it. When I originally watched the show, it was it basically had like very poor subtitles where it was kind of broken English, as if it was written by like one of those Hong Kong DVD like dubs. But I think this one should be better. I'm thinking I might review it. I'm still working the bugs out of it, but like I said, that's probably not going to be until next year. Basically January. That I kind of want to do like so I can watch like an episode and give you guys a little bit more content. We'll see. I'm still trying to think about how I want to do this, and again, like I said, I've still got some family stuff that I have to work out. But anyways, guys, that's gonna be it for this week. Hopefully, when I come back in the next 2 weeks, I will be able to talk to you about the next arc coming up, the Ghost Decade arc. With that said, guys, I'm Zangetsu 134. Take care.